Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Kaushal Barod, from work as assistant professor. I welcome Mr. Ankit from Softcon India Private Limited for which he will deliver on industrial automation and Industry 4.0. Mr. Ankit is working as training head in Softcon India Private Limited. He has total 7+ years of experience in industry and vocational training, and he has already delivered many expert sessions not only in private institutes but also engineering colleges. I welcome on behalf of Parul University, Ankit sir. Ankit sir, I welcome you, and
thank you so much.
Irene sir.
Shall we start, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, very good afternoon, all of you. As sir introduced, that today we have an expert session on the topic of, you can say webinar on the topic of industrial automation and Industry 4.0. So first we will know about what is automation, what is industrial automation, and the different components of particular this technology, and then we will go to the latest trend, or you can say the booming word into the current era, that is Industry 4.0. I will brief you about that, and I will also do some practical exposure in front of you also. So let's start with the first, that is what is industrial or what is automation. As we all know that automation, it is very simple. If we talk about in a simple term, then whatever the process we have, whatever the things we have, that is going to be automatic. That's called a automation. So the similar way, there are different types of automations are available in around us, right? So there is industrial automation is there. Then we talk about that there is office automation is there. Then home automation is there. Today we are going to talk about the industrial automation, because right now we are doing the engineering diploma or degree, and after completing our graduations or masters, we are going into the field, right? We are going to work into the industry. So that's why we should have a knowledge, or we should have some idea about the industrial automation, because this technology right now used in most of the industries, whether it is the manufacturing industries, whether it is the process industries, they all are using this technology. So as I said, as you know that the simple term of automation, that is the process is going to be automatically. But if we talk about the standard definition, then it is going to be automation is basically the delegation of human control to the technical equipment for the purpose of like the purpose of these technologies. There are mentioned as below, like increasing productivity, then reducing cost, then third is increasing quality, and fourth is increasing safety. This technology right now is used into the industry just because of these 4 reasons: productivity, it is reducing cost, it is increasing quality, and increasing safety in working environment. Now let us discuss about the each point, like how it is increasing the productivity, how it is reducing the cost, and like increasing the quality. So let us take an example. Like suppose we have any industry. Let's take an example that we have any food processing industries where we are making any food items. Let's take example of wafers. Suppose we are making any potato chips or something like that. So if our process is completely manual process, we are completely dependent on the human, then what is going to be happen over there in that particular domain, right? So if we are dependent on human, then what will happen? There will be lots of labor. Suppose we have a big industry, big plant, then there will be thousands of labor over there who are going to do the production of this wafer, or who are going to do the production of chips. So then what will happen? There are thousands of employees, and thousands of labor will be there. Everyone are not doing the same task with the same efficiency and with the same accuracy, right? So what will happen? Suppose out of 1,000, you have 1,000 labor over there, and you want to produce the 1,000 packet of wafer for particular single day. So out of 1,000 labor, there in a one day, suppose there will be 10 to 15 labor is absent due to various reasons. So what will happen? There will be a production loss, because you don't have a sufficient manpower. It means you will not be able to produce the whatever the product you want. You will not be able to produce it at desired target. Now the second thing, what will happen? There will be quality issue because we are completely dependent on human. Then human can make a mistake. There is a highly chance that human can do error or human can make a mistake, right? So what will happen? Suppose that particular labor will think that if I do any, if I will not follow the security check or if I will not follow the standard procedure in particular product, then there is nothing going to be happen for one product only, right? So similar way, out of 1,000 labors, 10 people or 20 people will think like that, then you will, end of the day, you will get a 20 product defected product. So definitely there will be quality, there will be quality is going to be down and you will get a defected product, and end of the day it is going to be loss for the industry. So it means now there will be another issue of safety also, because we are going to depend on humans. So there is, as I said, that there is highly chance of error. So there could be any hazardness over there also, and there will be a safety issue also in that. So now this is the main disadvantage into the manual process. Now suppose if we do the automatic process of this product, particular for wafer production, or you can say for the food processing industry, then what will happen? We are going to depend on the machineries, right? And whatever the raw materials will be required there, we will we will feed into the machines, and automatically production will be happen at the end of the day. So if we are dependent on the automation process, then definitely what will happen? It is going to increase productivity, because we are not going to depend on human now. We have a machineries, they are doing the work. Suppose it is running for 24 hours and targeted is something like 100,000 packets, then definitely it is going to be delivered if machine will work for the 24 hours. So definitely it is going to increase your productivity. Now don't talk about the second point, reducing cost. I will come to that point later. Then third is increasing quality. So in machineries, like suppose you have a machineries which is doing the production, then definitely we have implemented some standard checks and standard procedure over there. If it is not going followed over there, then your product is not going to be you are not going to the final product, right? That is not going to be happen. So what will happen? You will not get a defected product at the end of the day. So it means you will increase your quality. Your quality is going to be increased because the machine will run whatever you said, like what you ever said, the standard processor, this, something like that. Then that machine is going to work accordingly and you will get a final product. It means quality is going to be maintained. Okay. Then increasing working safety, right? We are completely dependent on machines. So definitely over there is a standard processes going on, and there will be less chance. You can say there will be a less chance of hazardness because machine is going to work accordingly like that. Then second point we missed it, that is reducing cost. Reducing cost in the terms of like, because we are going in manual process, what will happen? We are going to depend on the human. So labor cost will be there, then we have to handle them, then will be a production loss, and everything will be there. So end of the day, we are going to get a lot, like we are going to get less profit, right? So there will be now if we depend on the automatic process, then definitely, as I said, productivity is going to be increased. Initially, installation of this machine cost will be high, but later on there will be a maintenance cost will be very low, and downtime is going to be very less. So if downtime is very less, then definitely you are going to do a more production. So end of the day, it will reduce your cost. So that is the automation. Now the thing is that where we use the automation, right? So automation is used generally from, you can say, from agriculture to the space technology. Wherever we go, this technology you will find it in manufacturing unit, assembly lines, machine control, packaging. This is some examples I'm giving you. Later on we will discuss in details about the application of automation. Now whenever I say automation, it means you have to understand that I'm talking about the industrial automation, not about the home automation or you can say office automation. I'm talking about only industrial automation, because end of our study we are going to work into the industries, right? So as I said, suppose I have any plant, and if I apply automation over there, then what is going to be happen? Quality is going to be increased, productivity is going to be increased, labor cost is going to be down. It means reducing cost, and then end of the day, what will happen? Whatever we want, whatever the like we have set the target, then we will be able to achieve those targets, and end of the day, we'll be in a position to for the profit. We will be in a profit, right? So now. Everybody is talking about these technologies nowadays, automation, industrial automation. Why? Because there is a reason behind that. If you talk about the global market of this automation, so in 2018, the market was around $157 billion. And it is expected that by 2026 it is going to be around 296, or you can consider like around 300 billions. Within 8 years this market is going to be, you can say, double. So that's why this technology is right now in booming into the industries, and all industries are using this automation technology. Now let's talk about the history of first history of the automation. Right, earlier you think that earlier so we were doing all the tasks, like we were doing the manufacturing, or a process industry was also there and they were working fine. Then why required of the automation, right? So let's talk about the history for that. So earlier we were doing the manual control, as I said. So there is a drawback already I discussed, right? So to overcome this drawback, then later on pneumatic control and hydraulic control technologies introduced. So the whatever the process you have, that is controlled by, whatever the process is going on in the industry is, that was controlled by pneumatic control, or you can say hydraulic control. Now what is pneumatic control? Pneumatic control, it means the whatever the process that is controlled by air pressure. That process is going to, suppose if I giving you example that you people are traveling into the BRTS, or you can say Volvo. So in that bus, that door is getting open and closed automatically. So that door is getting open and closed by the pneumatic control, that is air pressure. Now what happens, sometimes that door is getting open and closed properly, but the speed of getting open and closed, that is very low. What is the reason? What's the reason behind that? Because the door is not getting, the valve is over there to open and close the door. That valve is not getting a proper air pressure from the source, or you can say from the air compressor, right? So because there will be some leakage out of that during the that area from the pipe, right? So what will happen, that valve is not getting the proper air pressure, and due to that it is getting open very slow, or it is getting closed very slow, right? So now if there is a you can say like there is a leakage over there. So to figure out that leakage and to solve it out, it will take a time into the industry, because I'm talking we are talking about the industrial automation. So definitely there will be a large process, there will be a very huge process. So it is going to take a time, and end of the day you will get a production loss. Now to overcome those challenges, another technology was introduced, that is hardwired logic control. That was you can say relay and contactor, electrical relay and contactor was replaced over there, and based on that technology or whatever the process you were, that is getting controlled. But the thing was the same, there is some drawback over there, like that if any contactor or relays got damaged, then to figure out which is not working, it is going to take a lots of time, and then you have to replace the entire wiring and everything, and then it is going to start again. So during this time what will happen, your production is going to be down. Now to overcome those things, logic gates electronic circuit was introduced. Whatever the circuits we took, like resistor based, capacitor based, or electronic logic gates based circuit was introduced. There was also the same issue was there. Then after, the automation technology was introduced in the year of 1969, and that's called the Industrial Revolution 3.0. During that time, the computers and electronic circuit and automation was introduced. That's why and the one revolution comes into the industry. That's why that's called Industrial Revolution 3.0. That we will discuss also later, whatever like about the industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 and 4.0. So right now we are discussing about industrial automation, which falls under Industrial Revolution 3.0. So in the year of 1960, PLC automation technology and PLC programmable logic controller was introduced in the year of 1969, which replaced electrical and electronics, you can say whatever the complex circuit you have, that replaced by the replaced with simple hardware, that is your PLC programmable logic controller. So as we discussed, whatever the issues was manual control, that I already told you. Pneumatic control, there was the same issue. You can see here, this is the pneumatic actuators are here, and that is operated by the air pressure. If something leakage is over there, then you have to find out the lead leakage, and then you have to do the repairing, and it is going to take a lots of time. This is the simple circuit, but industry it is going to be very complex system, right? Then after hardware logic, this image you can see this similarly you can see there are lots of relays and contactors are placed into the control panel. Now suppose if any one of these relay or contactor are not working properly, then it is going to take a lots of time to figure it out. And during this, if you figure it out and then you will replace it, During this, you have to face the lots of production, right? So there was the disadvantage, like you can say bulky panels. It is getting very bulky, right? If you want to figure out find out the fault, it is going to take a lots of time. Then the logic gates was also there. Then after, as I said, PLC, programmable logic controller, to automate your process. That is a simple logic. If you want to do any automatic process, then definitely we require some controller to control that process. To control our industrial process, we require some industrial control. I'm not talking about microcontroller. Microcontroller used for very small process, that you can for home automation or for office automation. But for industrial automation, you have to use industrial controller, and that is our PLC, programmable logic controller. So here you can say this is the image of controller. Now you can see, as we seen over here in this slide, this is a control panel, and this lots of relay, contact, and bulky panels which is control your process. Now this image here you can say this is our controller. This controller replaces the entire image of that, whatever the contactors and relay you have, that is getting replaced with this small hardware, and which is control your entire process automatically. So in about PLC we will come later into the details. Let's first talk about the application of industrial automation, where automation is used. So first we are using into the process control industries, that is you can say food and beverages industries, where the food like wafer production, or you can say anything like chips production, or you can say beverages industries, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, right, Thumbs Up, whatever the soft drinks and cold drinks we are using in and nowadays. There's all the industries are using the industrial automation 100%. Cement industries. Then after automobile industries, right? Car manufacturing and bike manufacturing companies, though all are using 100% industrial automation for the assembly process, or you can say for the painting of that product, or you can say trimming of that component, whatever the component is placed inside the car or inside the bike. For those processes, they are using the automation. Then after, for packaging industries, wherever the packaging is happening, to control that process. Then after amusement park also they are using, when like suppose we are going into any amusement park and we are sitting into the rides. So those rides are controlled by automation technology, because one person is sitting into the cabin and that person is doing the entire control. That speed is getting fast, speed is getting low, right? Then it is moving into the certain angles, right? If we are sitting any rides. So that is completely controlled by the VFD, variable frequency drive. That is the hardware of this industrial automation technology. Then after, in steel rolling mills, paper mills, sugar mills, they all are using automation. Then infrastructure industries, they are using HVAC and boiler and turbine. And to control and monitor this process, we are also using the automation technology. Then after, in batch control industries, you can say for chemical industry, any chemical industries, ink and paint industry, you can say Asian Paint, Berger, Nerolac, they all are using automation. Then coal industries, mining industries. Then after, machine control industry, CNC machine, we are getting right in and out the CNC machine. That entire CNC, what is the process of their die cutting process or gearbox manufacturing process is going into the CNC machine. So that CNC machine is completely controlled by your PLC, right? Then after, glass cutting machine industry, glass cutting machine, or you can say any plastic industries. If you are going into the Vapi Valsad, there is a cello plastic, right? Cello industries is there. They all are using the automation also. Then after, oil and gas industry, if you are going into the IOCL, or you are going into the ONGC, they are using 100% automation. So these are the application of this industrial automation technology. After seeing this slide, we have to think now that there are no industries available like we who are not using the automation. Everybody are using the automation in nowadays. So there are some leading companies who are providing solution for the automation. That is Rockwell Automation, Siemens, ABB, Schneider Electric, Mitsubishi, General Electric, Honeywell, Yokogawa, and many more are available into this domain, or you can say for this technology. Now let's understand about this technology in very detail. So we convert this technology, we divide this technology into the three components. First one is field instrument, second is control hardware, and third one is control software. So let's talk about the field instrument. As the name says, it's a field instrument. So that is going to be your input, and that is going to be mostly your sensors. So in industries, there are mainly two type of sensors are available. One is digital, or you can say discrete, and another one is analog, right? So discrete, it means it is going to be work as a like only on or off, or you are getting signal into 0 or 1. And analog sensor, it means that value is going to be vary over there. That's why that is analog sensors. Now in a discrete sensor, as I said, if we are using any discrete sensor and we want output from that sensor, we are we are getting into form of either 1 or either 0. It means on or off. But if we are using any analog sensor, suppose let's take an example. Suppose wherever you are sitting in the room, you want to measure the temperature over there. Then it means you have to use a temperature sensor. So you are taking any temperature sensors. That sensor is going to give an output in analog form. In which form? Analog form. But there will be a two type of form. One will be voltage and second will be current. So there will be a particular range for these two things, for analog voltage type or analog current type. So for current, the range will be 4 to 20 milliampere, and for voltage, the range will be 0 to 10 volt. According your application, according your requirement, you have to select the sensors, either like whether you require voltage type output, or whether you require, or you can say for current type output. So based on your application, based on your you can say your environment, infrastructure, you have to decide. I'm not going in detail that much. So what are the analog sensors widely used in industries? So if we want to measure you can say temperature, then we are going to we have to use RTD, registered temperature detector, RTD. Then you can say thermocouple, and there are different sensors available into the industry, that is pressure, flow, level, pH, density, different type of gas sensors to detect the different gas into the chemical industries. We are getting lots of gas sensors also. So whatever all those sensors are giving output in the form of, you can say, voltage or current. Here you can see the image. This is RTD. These are the different type of level sensor. This is a pressure sensor. So if you are connecting any level sensor, then you will get the output in the form of voltage or current, and that signal is going to be your controller. And after that, you will do some programming, and your controller will accordingly work like that. So these are your field instrument. Now, second is control hardware. It means our PLC, programmable logic controller. Here you can see the image of PLC. Different brands are available as we have in mobile. Similar over here, different brands available are here. This is Siemens brand PLC. This is Allen Bradley brand PLC. So different PLCs are available. So your PLC is your programmable logic controller. You have to do some programming into it, and accordingly your process is going to be automated. Then another one is standalone PID controller for a simple process. If I'm giving you example like that for air conditioning, what happened in air conditioning? Whether like in that air conditioner that is measuring the temperature. Suppose we are setting the temperature as a 23 degree from the remote. It means that the temperature sensor are there, which is measuring the temperature of your room. If it is less than 23, or if it is like that, then it is not 23 till the time your AC is on. Once the temperature is met, whatever you have set, your compressor is going to be on. So in this type of process, where is continuously and closed loop process going on, over there you have to use the standalone PID control. But to control the entire your process, you have to use industrial controller, that is your programmable logic controller. So as I said, we are using PLC, programmable logic control. Now let's talk about any field input elements, like whatever the inputs. If you have any push button, that is going to be your input. If you are using any switch into industries, that is your input that you have to connect with your PLC. If you have any sensors, that is your input. And you can say final control element, or you can say output. So if you have any actuator, which is going to be controlled by process, so that is your output. Solenoid valve, control valves. If you have any drives, if you have any indicator lamps, any hooters, any fans, these all are motors. These all are going to be your output into the industries. Now let's talk about the brands of various brand of PLC. As I said, suppose we are buying any mobile, so there are lots of options, other like brands we have available. Similar here, we have lots of brands available into the PLC also. We have a Siemens, Allen Bradley, G, Fanuc, Hollis, Delta, Schneider, Mitsubishi, Modicon, Omron, and many more. More than 200 plus brands are available. But out of this 200 plus brand available, there are two giants into this technology, that is Siemens and Allen Bradley, or you can say Rockwell Automation. These two companies are called giant of automation because they have covered 64 to 65% of entire global market. So that's why these two companies are a giant of this technology. Now, programming, as I said, this is a programmable logic controller. It means we have to do some programming. So whenever programming comes in our mind, we think that C, C++, Java, Python, or something like that, right? But it is not like that. In PLC programming, we are not going to use any of those languages. We have to use these 5 languages as mentioned in slide. That is ladder logic, structured text, instruction list, SFC, sequential function chart, and function block diagram. This is very simple language. This is not complex. Anyone can understand this. Anyone can make a logic in it also, right? So out of this 5 language, mostly used language, 95% ladder logic is used. For the remaining this 5 language, the first one mostly used, that is ladder logic. Secondly used, that is FBD, function block diagram, and remaining 3 are used very less. You can say in a 1% also, right? It is used very less. So mostly used, that is ladder logic. So I will show you also the how ladder logic is, how we can do the programming into the PLC. So here you can see the slides. In a slide you can see the image, that is the programming, because as I said, the programmable logic controller, it means we have to do programming. So we have to do programming in software, right? For a different brand PLC, there will be a different software, but logic behind all the brand, that will be same. Logic is going to be same, only the software is going to be different, and there will be some little difference. So here you can see, this is the image of one programming software, that is Siemens brand available. This programming software name is TIA Portal. Here different devices are connected with each other as per the industry requirement. I will show you practically also. Now, as I earlier said that ladder logic is mostly used, so I will explain you the ladder logic. So how ladder logic is work. So in a ladder logic, what will happen? There will be a 2 ladder like this. So here there will be a phase, and here there will be a neutral. Or you can say this is going to be a bus bar. And between these 2 ladder, your logic is going to be designed like this. So that's why this called a ladder logic. Now to make any ladder logic, you require 2 concepts. You should have a knowledge on 2 concepts. First one is NO/NC. You should know about NO/NC. And second one is logic gates. Now what is NO? NO means normally open context. If we talk about any push button, when we are pressing it or when we are releasing it, right? So there will be 2 type of push button. First one is NO and second one will be NC. So NO means normally open, NC means normally closed. So NO symbol is like this and NC symbol is like this. So what will happen in NO? Initially, in initial condition, NO normally open, it means it is going to be open. So here, from here there will be phase connected, from here there will be neutral connected. So phase is going to pass out from here there is a neutral, and whatever you placed in between those here, that is going to on or off. But right now it is NO, it means the phase is not going to pass from here because it is open. When we press it, then what will happen? It is going to be converted into the NC, normally closed. So phase is going to be passed over here. So phase will get, neutral will get, and whatever you have connected, suppose you have connected any motor or you have connected any lamp, that is going to be on. What will happen in case of NC? In NC, the symbol is like that. It means it is in original position, it is like initially it is closed. So phase will pass from here, neutral will get what. So initially whatever you connect in between those two, your output is going to be on from the beginning itself. Now when you press any NC type push button, it is going to be converted into the you can say open. It is going to be converted into the open condition. So it means phase is not going to pass from there, and whatever you have connected over there, that is going to be off. So now let us design a simple logic. Simple logic in the sense, I am saying that I have a one push button as a start switch, I have a one push button as a stop switch. So and I have a one motor. So whenever I press start switch, my motor is going to be on. Whenever I press the stop switch, my motor is going to be off. So for that, I want to design a simple ladder logic. So how we can design that? So there will be a ladder. Here there will be line like this called a rung. So we will design a logic in a rung. So as I said that whenever I press the switch, my motor should be on. So whenever I press the start switch, it means which contact I will take, NO or NC. So in NO, what is happening? Whenever I press, then output is going to be on, as I explained earlier. And in NC, what is happening? Whenever we pressed it, then output is getting off. So we will take a NO switch over here. Okay. Now the second step, as I said, that when I press the stop switch, then my output is going to be, my motor is going to be off. So in a ladder logic, if you want to indicate any output, that you have to indicate like this. Okay, that you can indicate like this. So my output is like this. This is my motor. This is my start switch. Now, as I said, that whenever I press this stop switch, it is going to be off. So I have to place NC as the stop switch over here. This is my stop switch. So whenever I press this start switch, my output is going to be on, and whenever I press the stop switch, my output is going to be off. So if I explain you the same with the logic, you can see over here, I have created one logic over here. The same logic over here, start switch, stop switch, and my output you can see over here. So just 1 minute. If I press this start switch, then my output, this is lamp or you can say motor, that is going to be on. So here you can say if any output is on, that is going to be indicated in a green. This is the same software which I showed in earlier slide. Okay. So if I press this switch, you can see over here, this entire converted into the green and my output is on right now. Now, if I release this switch also, if I press this, now we release this, but still my output is on because in a logic, I have a put on as a hold on contact. I'm not going into details that much. So that's how you can create a PLC logic, which is very simple. Let me show you some example also that I will show you later. So this is my, you can say, PLC programming. Now, another one we have, that the third component which we have, that was control software. So control software, that is SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition. So SCADA is a completely software. PLC, that was completely, we have, that was hardware. We have a hardware of PLC, then we are doing the programming in software, and then we have to download into the controller. That is the process for the PLC. Now suppose I'm giving you example why this SCADA software is required in industry. Suppose we have any, you can say, let's talk like same, like we have a Coca-Cola production plant where what is the process is happening. There is a big tank, from there conveyor belt is there running on. There are lots of bottles are coming on conveyor. Then that bottle is getting filled. Then capping process is done. Then capping is done. Then label has been fixed over here. Like you can say whatever you are getting, that date and time and everything. And then it is going for the packaging. Now you want to count that how many bottles gets filled. Then if you have done the automation, you have implemented PLC over there, then you don't have to go each and every time into the field plant. You don't have to count each and every bottle. Instead of that, you can use the SCADA softwares, and with the SCADA softwares, with the help of SCADA softwares, we can do everything. So as the name says, SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition. So it means it is going to supervise your process, it is going to control your process, and the data acquisition, it means whatever the process is going over there, the data is going to be stored, and that you can use for your analysis purpose later on. So whatever example I have given to do that, like suppose whatever the process is going over there, that we want to see in our control room in our software. For that, we have to do a graphics, you can say, we have to design a GUI, graphical user interface. So any software has some features, like if we are buying any mobiles, that mobile has some features. Similar way, this SCADA software has some features. So one, as I said, that GUI, then we have to do the animation. For that, we are doing a scripting of it. Then trends are there, historical and real-time trends are there. So based on that trends, we can by using that trends, we can monitor our process. Like we can implement the graphs over the trends. It means graph. Suppose you can draw a graph over there for the time versus temperature, time versus voltage, time versus current, or whatever you need. Those type of graphs you can generate and you can display in your SCADA software, and based on that you can monitor it. Then alarms will be there. If any critical situation comes into your plant, then alarms, like you will get a notification in your system, in your software. So based on that you can take a necessary action, or you can take necessary precautions. Right? Then recipe management. This is the like this feature is mostly used into the pharmaceutical and food processing industries. The name suggests recipe. So recipe is going to be created over there. Like suppose as a food processing industry, there will be a wafer production plant. So there will be a recipe design, like this many, like 2 kg potato will be there. In that 100 ml oil will be there, and for 2 minutes it is going to be fried, then it is going to be packaged. So end of the day, what will happen? Quality is going to be maintained. The quality is going to be maintained. The same way in pharmaceutical industry in terms of chemical, right? Then after security also features, like you can apply the multi-level security in it, and based on that you can give a restricted access to the individual person also. Then after, as I said, we are using a scripting. You have to use the script to animate it. Your whatever the logic, whatever the graphics design you have created, that you can do the animation. I will show you the animation also. Now in SCADA also there are different brands available: Wonderware, Siemens, Allen Bradley, Schneider, G. Fanuc, Delta. Lots of brands are available. So these are the company name, and they have developed their software, and that software have a like particular name. Like Wonderware developer software, and they have given name as a Intouch. Siemens has given a WinCC. Allen Bradley has given FactoryTalk. Okay. Here you can see the same, like this graphics has been created in SCADA, and from this you can monitor and control. Like this is for the chemical plant. You can see there are multiple tanks. So liquid is going to from one tank to another tank, then it is getting mixed, and then it is getting heating also, right? Here you can see the tank 1, tank 2, tank 3, tank 4, temperature of that tank, temperature of humidity, you can say flow rate is there also there, then level is also there. Then you can control the mixing speed also from here. Mixer speed is at 3, you can control into the 2, or you can 1, right? You can set it into 1. So everything you can control from sitting into the control room. You don't have to go into the plant. You don't have to go each and every time into the plant. You can control everything, monitor and control from the control room itself. This is also one image of SCADA software. This is also, you can see for boiler, or you can say HVAC plant image. SCADA design is available over here. So that's how you can design, you can animate, and then you can monitor and control your entire process by sitting into the control room. Some other you can say hardware components are used in automation, that is HMI, human machine interface, which is used mostly in machine automation. If we talk about machine automation, it means if you are doing any production, like there are any machine which is completely working on automation, to control that particular machine, we have to use human machine interface, this HMI. If I give you simple example, you are going into the petrol pump and you are saying, please give me 100 rupees petrol. So that person is entering 100 rupees in that machines, and you are getting automatically 100 rupees petrol. When it is done, that valve is getting closed automatically. So to whatever the device is fixed over there, that's called a human machine interface. Whatever the device do the work, like for the interface between human and machine, that's called HMI, human machine interface. Then if you talk about the industrial automation technology, then there will be a panel designing, and the control panel will be there in a plant. From that particular point, you can control your process also in that PLC. Like here you can see into the image, PLCs are there, then some switchgear components and wiring has been done. HMI is fixed onto the panel, and from that you can monitor and control your process. Then variable frequency, VFD, also used in this technology to control your motor. Control in the term of, like you can on, or you can do the on, and you can give off command, then you can give a direction command in forward direction, reverse direction, if you want to do any braking or like that. So to do this, all these things, you have to use VFD, variable frequency drives. There will be a different types of brands available, as well as different types, like there will be AC drives, DC drives, and servo drives will be available. Then after networking, communication. Suppose, as we discussed earlier, that we have implemented automation in our plant. So we have used the PLC over there. We have done the programming over there. Then we have done the connection and everything over there. So this process is going over there. But as we discussed, that we want to see the process from our control room. So we are going to use SCADA software. But whatever the process is happening inside the plant, that data is not going to come directly over there. So if you want to get any data on your SCADA system or anything, then definitely you have to do such type of communication. You have to do some networking. So to do communication, you have to use a various type of protocols. So there will be a different types of protocols available in industrial automation technology. That will be your serial communication, RS-232, you can say Modbus communication, Profibus communication, Profinet communication, HART protocol. So lots of protocols are available based on your application, based on your hardware based on your hardware availability and application requirement. You have to choose the right protocol for your process. Then after, your PLC is like the next hardware which is used in automation, that is DCS, distributed control system. Now your PLC, as we discussed earlier, PLC has some limitations. Like if you have a 10,000 input, 20,000 lakh, 1 lakhs input, then your PLC can control it. But more than that, if you have a big plant and you have more than 1 lakhs input, then you have to use the upgraded version of PLC. That's called a DCS, distributed control system. Another reason to use the DCS is that for the redundancy purpose. Redundancy. So what is the redundancy? It means, like, suppose we have a plant and process is going on over there, but we cannot expect any failure over there. Or you can say if any hardware gets fault, then definitely your process is going to be stopped. But we don't want that. What we want, that there will be another backup system over there, and if one system is got failed, then another system will directly run, and that based on that system our plant is going to be work. So that's called a redundancy. So for the redundancy purpose, compulsory you have to use DCS system. So if you are going any oil and gas companies or any chemical based companies, definitely you are going to see distributed control system, DCS, over there. So this is our industrial automation technology. Now I will show you some PLC programming and HMI based simple example over there. So as we said, I have created one HMI screen, machine automation, you can say machine automation screen. So suppose I'm going into this screen 1. So as you can see, my lamp is on. So I'm getting a green indication. The same indication is you are going to get into your system also. So you can control it from the HMI also. When I press the start button, you can see my output is on. It is getting indicated as a green. And similar, you can see over here in your PLC software also. If I press the stop switch, it is off as a red, and you can see over here, here also it is stopped. So that's how you can. Then after I have created some another graphs. You can generate a graphs over here. Whatever the requirement you have, accordingly you can generate a graph over here. You can say, and alarms also there. I have a configure alarm. So you are getting, suppose I have a value more than 85, it means I'm getting, I have a less value. That's why I'm getting a message that my temperature is low over here. You can see you are getting alarms over there also, temperature low. So based on that, if you are getting any alarm, then you will take a necessary action. Suppose now I have to take action, but now my temperature is I am getting. So that's how you can configure alarm in your process also. Then you can give a security also. I have apply security also over here. You can see I have a username with AGD. Now if I go into this screen, but I am not able to go into that screen because I have given a multi-level access security system. Only admin can go into this particular screen. Okay. Now if I click on this screen, you can see I can go into this screen too. When I press this switch, I can set, I have a design a logic that I want to start this my output, or you can say motor, for a 10 seconds. So when I enter 10 seconds over here, and when I press this, my motor is going to be on. I'm getting a message as a motor on, and this will run for 10 seconds. Here in a real time also you are getting a value of timing also. When it is 10 seconds, you can see it is off now. I want to change the timing as a 20 seconds. So I will enter as a 20, and I can on my motor again. So that's how in industries the logic is designed, graphics is designed, and you can control your entire process like this. Now let's talk about industry 4. Let's talk about the industry 4.0. So industry 4.0, there is a revolution into the industry. So earlier, what was in year of 1784, There was industry 1.0, which was completely worked on steam power. Then after industry 2.0 revolution has come, which was running on electrical energy. And then after in 1969, industrial revolution 3.0 has come, that is your automation, computers and electronics. And then after in a recent, you can say, after 2011, the industry 4.0 revolution has come, which is your cyber physical system, internet of things and networks. Mostly we can say IoT, internet of things. Now the thing is that if any industry want to use the industrial revolution 4.0, then that industry first must be on industry 3.0. That industry have to use automation first, then after they can switch into the industrial revolution at 4.0. So industrial revolution is nothing. If I give you a simple example, then that is IoT, okay, internet of things, IoT. So what happens in IoT, you can say, like suppose as we have taken example of you can say food manufacturing industries of Coca-Cola, right? So we can monitor it in our SCADA from our control room. Now what do you want? Suppose you are a plant head and you want to monitor it remotely from anywhere at any corner of the world. Then what is going to be happen? Whatever the data, like this, there will be a PLC into plant. That PLC is sending this data to SCADA software, and this SCADA software is going to send, or directly this PLC is going to send whatever the data is to the clouds. Okay, this data is going to send to the clouds, and from the cloud we will receive data and we will monitor. Then we will monitor it from any corner of the world. So that is your IoT and that is your industry 4.0. So that is one of the technology of industry 4.0. There are some other like AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, machine learning. This all comes under industry 4.0 technology. So this technology is demanding in a nowadays, because you can see now, like we are in the era of digitalization, like everything is getting digitalized. So that's why we need this technology, and this technology is getting more and more attention in a nowadays. So if you talk about the global market of the industry, then you can say in 2019 this industry 4.0 market was around $71.7 billion. And in 2024, within a 5 to 6 years, it is going to be $157 billion, almost double, right? So that's why this technology is very important. And if we talk about the contribution of India into these technologies, why it is important for us. So if you see here graph, right, by 2024, as we said, that it is going to be a $156 billion market. So there are some like North American countries are this, European countries are this, and if you talk about the Asia Pacific countries, India's are also there, China and Japan and South Korea, and you can see the distribution of these countries. You can see here, this is the maximum contribution from these countries is going to be in this technology. And maybe if you are aware about that, now India is like you can say entire the world, like India is at the 5th position for into the manufacturing industries. First is China, and then after right now India is at a 5th position in a manufacturing industries and in entire the world. So day by day, most manufacturing companies are coming to the India's. We have a pharmaceutical industry, or you can say process industries, food processing industries, and automobile industries. So in manufacturing industry, compulsory they have to use automation, and then they are going to switch into the industry 4.0. So that is a 5-level architecture. Like as we discussed, that first level will be sensors and actuators. From there we are going to get data. Then there will be a PLC. Then after SCADA. Then there will be MES system where all the data is going to be stored and analyzed. And then this data is going to be used for the ERP purpose and factory management operation. And based on that, what will happen? You will be able to figure it out. You will do the data analysis, and you will be able to figure out the what you have to change in the process. What are the things are demanding in market right now? What you have to improve. what product is mostly used into the industry right now, what people thinking, everything you can do with the help of data analysis, and based on that you will make a decision and you will change your production things and everything. So in industry 4.0, as already we discussed, there will be a 9 technology like autonomous robots will be there. First we will do the simulation of any products, and then we will do the manufacturing. Horizontal and vertical system integration is there going to be there. IoT is going to be there. Cyber security, cloud computing is going to, adaptive manufacturing will be there. Augmented reality will be there, and big data and analytics. This 9 technology is going to be mostly used in industry 4.0 revolution. Now, if we talk like that, if we use industry 4.0, then what will happen? That it is going to be a better quality because you can do the analysis of your product and everything, and based on that you can make a decision. So better quality will be there. Production is going to be increased more. You can increase more production. Then that will affect definitely your economy. Then improve decision making because you will be able to do the data analysis because you are going to send lots of data. You are going to store the data. You are going to send those data to clouds. And based on that, you will be able to do the analysis on that. And based on that, you will be able to make a decision. So your decision making power will be improved. Then mass customization will be there. Based on data analysis, what we can do, we will be able to figure out that, like suppose for this type of people, this type of product is required. Based on this, we have to do this type of changes and then everything. And you can do the customized product for customized like we are buying a customized gift or something like that. The similar way the logic is going to implement over here. You can do the mass customization based on the customer requirement and faster production as already we discussed. So faster production will be there because the survey says that speed up the manufacturing process by 100%. Suppose what will happen, 120% in time needed to deliver order. Suppose if you are not using the industry 4.0, then it is taking to deliver your order this much of time. Now if you are going to use industry 4.0, then it is going to be decreased, like it will take this much of percentage, right? So definitely your production time is going to be faster. Mass customization, as I already said, that based on customer requirement, you will be able to do the mass customization. Now, earlier the people were not using this technology, industry 3.0 and 4.0. So what was happening? They were getting like as I said that we will get a lots of defective product, and based on that they were in a very huge loss. Based on this defective product, they were in the huge loss of this amount, $160 billion. After using these technologies, they are getting a very less. You can say very less. That is like very negligible. Here you can see it is a 500. Here you can see it is a 12 product, right? Out of this, there will be a 500 product defected. Over here, it is only 12. So if you are not getting a defected product, it means there will be accuracy is going to be maintained and there will be profit. Also, there will be a profit in your production. Now, increased productivity, as I said, but how? That is going to be like 50% downtime is going to be decreased. If you use industry 4.0, then it is going to decrease your downtime 50%. It means it is going to increase your 20% production. So production is going to be increased. I will show you one video how it is going to decrease the downtime also. Now, if you use this technology, then definitely there will be some challenges. Like we need the technical manpower. Then there will be a job there will be recession also for the labor type, like who are doing the labor work. So they will lose their jobs. We need a manpower who is completely skilled on this. Then we need infrastructures and everything. We have to invest a lot earlier part of this improvement, like whenever we switch into this technology. But later on there will be no maintenance and everything, and you will get a good profit over there. So there are some challenges there also, but as we know that we have to walk with the time. Whatever, like we have to upgrade day by day. Otherwise, we will not be at a good position in a industry. So if I show you like how it is going to, you can say like how it is going to increase the productivity by downgrading the. So I will show you one video.
Digitalization is one of the most.
I will show you the video of Industry 4.0 technology. So here augmented reality technology or VR is used. So what is happening, you can see that person is wearing a glass and seeing, observing everything. So he is getting all the things, whatever the process is going on, he is getting all the notifications over there.
Basic and status data.
You can see he is getting drive 4 is there, drive 3 is there. This is the that much energy level is there. This is the power, actual value, speed, everything he is getting over that directly by wearing that VR glass.
Devices forms the basis for that. Now, value this data.
You can see this machine is not working properly, so she has to do a maintenance for that machine. So what happening right now, if any machine is not working, then we are opening entire machines. We are checking each and everything of that, and it is taking lots of time. But if you are using Industry 4.0 AI VR technology, then what will happen?
If reducing its context,
you can see
in-house.
Directly she got the notification that this part is ready. This part is not working. So what will happen now? She has to open that machine. She has to remove this part of the machine and she has to replace. So definitely, what will happen? It is going to less time. So it means your downtime is going to be decreased. And if your downtime is going to decrease, then definitely your production is going to be increased.
Thanks to the comprehensive networking of all machines and tool databases with animations and 3D modeling, heating and cooling circuits, as well as the Optimum, also uses AR.
So he's getting all the ratings of drives, machines.
Required data is provided by.
And that is your Industry 4.0 technology. Right now in India, only Bosch and BMW car manufacturing plant, they are using the complete 4.0. Remaining company are still upgrading themselves. But before upgrading themselves, they has to upgrade to the automation first, because still lots of industries are at a manual process. So first they have to upgrade themselves in automation, and then after they can upgrade themselves into the 4.0. Okay, that's it from my end. We have a time limit of 1 hour. So in that 1 hour, I have delivered what I can. And if you have any query, then you can ask us.
Sir, one of our student have a question regarding, and he asked that what will be there in Industry 5.0.
So there is no such standard for 5.0 right now, because still people are not upgraded at 4.0. Because still 4.0 is in upgraded process, because only few industries, you can say very few, there is not a 1% also of the entire industries are using 4.0. So whenever we were using the 3.0, still we were not aware about the 4.0. But when it is launched, then we have come to know about these things. So still there is nothing about the 4.0, because still 4.0 is not completely accepted into the industry.
Okay, so means it is upgrading day by day.
Yeah, based on the requirement and whatever the invention will come, based on that is going to be happen. Because earlier 5 or 10 years back, we were not that much aware about the artificial intelligence, or you can say AR, VR or anything like that. But now it is upgrading, like it has come to us, and we are upgrading ourselves into that. So if anything innovations come, innovative things will come, then it is going to be happen. And definitely that will take a 30 to 40 years, not before that is possible.
So sir, as a as a part of that concluding the today's session, sir, I am very much thankful to you for such a knowledge sharing session from your side. From bottom of my heart, that overall it will be started from automation, history, application, and all aspects are covered in that. So sir, really a kind of a knowledge sharing session which will be delivered by you. So I am very much thankful to you, sir. And maybe in future also for such a practical this kind of session. So that will be there, sir, from
sure,
our end also.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much for the.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.